Hello? Is anybody out there? Hello? Hello? That's right. Thank you. I figured there was somebody out there. My name is Fred Blackwell. I'm the Executive Director of San Francisco's Redevelopment Agency. I'm going to kind of move us through the program today. But before I do so, I just have to say how excited I am, how great it is to be here today to celebrate a very important milestone, not only in the development of the Bayview, the development of Alice Griffith, but the development of the shipyard in this community as a whole. I think that this today, in HUD's decision, represents their confidence not only in the city, but our development partners in the community to do something that is going to be wonderful here today. You will hear from folks at the federal level, the state level. You'll hear from people here locally. You'll hear from our development partners today. But what I want to do first is start by introducing Ophelia Bascal, who is the Region 9 Director at HUD, who is going to talk about why we are here today.
Good morning, everyone, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. It's a great honor to be here with the City of San Francisco, the Housing Authority, McCormick, Barron Salazar, and all the partners who came together to plan the transformation and revitalization of the Alice Griffith neighborhood. In particular, I want to acknowledge the champions for this community who made this possible. Mayor Lee, Supervisor Cohen, Redevelopment Agency Director Blackwell, Housing Authority Director Alvarez, and of course, almost more important than anyone, the residents of Alice Griffith. I also want to extend a special word of thanks to the mayor. Mayor Lee, I know that you appreciate the significance of the Department of Housing and Urban Development's New Choice Neighborhoods program. This neighborhood transformation will come about because you and the city's partners began focusing on the assets in this community instead of talking only about the deficits that others saw. It is because of this vision of this neighborhood's possibilities that I am pleased to announce that San Francisco has been selected to receive 30.5 million choice neighborhoods for the Eastern Bayview neighborhood revitalization. San Francisco has every reason to be proud, as this competition was fierce. There were 42 applicants for this program. San Francisco will join just 4 other cities, Boston, Chicago, New Orleans, and Seattle, in this exciting new federally funded neighborhood revitalization initiative. While a new program, Choice Neighborhoods actually builds on the successes and lessons that we learned from the HUD Hope 6 program. In San Francisco, Hope 6 funded 5 community projects with over $115 million of federal investment in the city. Now, that's a very impressive record, and we intend to build on that. Choice Neighborhoods is all about moving beyond bricks and mortar and the traditional property line to help the residents themselves build a more sustainable community. HUD's program design for this program focused on directing resources to address 3 core goals: housing, people, and neighborhoods. This is an important moment for this Eastern Bayview community. We all know the challenges that this neighborhood has faced, and the surrounding area also, for decades: disinvestment, troubled schools, troubled housing, and little economic opportunity. As difficult as these challenges may be in this neighborhood, they are hardly unique. Today, more than 10 million people live in neighborhoods just like this one. And as I heard San Francisco's Deputy Superintendent of Schools, Richard Carranza, say during his HUD's assessment visit, one of the most important factors in determining whether or not children will do better financially than their parents is whether or not they grow up in a high poverty zip code. The fact that we can predict health, economic, and education outcomes of children based on their zip code is a tragedy. But I'm here today because the Obama administration believes this tragedy should never play out again in communities like this neighborhood. This is why the White House has been pursuing this interagency neighborhood initiative to revitalize neighborhoods and support local leaders like those here today who are here to transform distressed communities into sustainable mixed-income communities with affordable housing, safe streets, and good schools that every family needs and deserves. Successful, stable housing is an important step toward building a healthy neighborhood, but it's only the first step. Our Choice Neighborhood competition required winners to provide neighborhood children with high-quality educational opportunities and challenged them to use a portion of their award for early childhood education and after-school tutoring. By partnering with CP Development Lennar Homes, Urban Strategies, the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency, and the San Francisco Unified School District, San Francisco will use its Choice Neighborhoods grant to build on local efforts to turn around poor-performing schools and create cradle-to-career educational opportunities. Some of the program's expected outcomes include transportation improvements, investment in existing and new housing, retail attraction, and support for greening projects such as the recreational improvements plan for the shoreline. When considered as a whole, we are talking about how we knit something together to help people move from the margins of society and addresses the barriers in the way of their success and self-sufficiency. As President Obama has said, if poverty is a disease that infects an entire community in the form of unemployment and violence, failing schools and broken homes, then we can't just treat those symptoms in isolation. We have to heal the entire community. And so, to all of you, to create the successful application to address the needs of this community, I extend HUD's congratulations. You came together because you know you have the power to make things better in this neighborhood than they currently are. You have proven that in other projects. Person by person, community by community, you have always been on the side of helping communities overcome barriers and achieve success. More than anything else, this is the foundation of the Choice Neighborhoods Partnership, the basis for how we will move forward to continue creating change and benefit our communities. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Mayor Lee.
Good morning. Good morning. Isn't this a beautiful day? Yeah. All right. You know, I've been trying to think about what kind of words could express the deep felt appreciation that I'm feeling today on behalf of all of you. And I know there's a lot of people to thank, but let me spend a moment just to express my personal feelings. It's been a long, complicated road to get to where we are. And years of people making promises year after year, decade after decade to try to get here. And so I think my theme today that I want to talk to you about is that there's a delivery of hope that is reflected in this decision that HUD's made with us. And I felt that hope with all of you when we were here right in this Opportunity Center earlier this year. We brought everybody together. And the minute I felt it was when the team, Ophelia, the team from HUD, in their inspection said to us, it's one thing to have a great application on paper, but we're going to do something different. We're going to get out of this building and we're going to walk this whole place. We're going to talk to the people who live here. And I sensed that when they said that, they were going to say to us, the real decision is if they feel the people here feel the same hope that is registered on the piece of paper. And if they talk to people who've lived here for decades, who've seen the bullets fly, who know the community setting here, felt the isolation for many years, felt the need to talk to their representatives. I know Sophie heard that for years, the isolation. Malia Cohen's heard that as she grew up this whole place. And they said to people working at City Hall, bureaucrats like myself, get your rear ends out to the community and make sure that we touch people so that the feeling of hope is not just on paper, that it's really felt. So they went to the residents of Alice Griffith to see whether or not that hope is going to really be there. And yes, they felt people do care about us. There is a care reflected in the planning that we had. Because people like Fred Blackwell, people like Naomi Kelly, people like Sophie and Naomi, all of them working with people right here, with the Housing Authority, with the Henry Alvarez's, with Carlos, an education part, worked together with our community partners and said years ago that we don't want to just talk about hope, we want to deliver hope to this place with you, so that we have a program that is committed to, not only on paper, signed with our signatures to represent a contract, an agreement with all of you here, that when we rebuild Alice Griffith, it's not a physical rebuilding, it's a community rebuilding with everybody, so that people who live here know there's no displacement that's going on. They're going to actually help with our city build program, our partnership, our labor unions, build the housing for themselves on site with that help. That's the major difference. I think that got through to HUD. It got through to Ophelia's team. It got through to Sean Donovan's team. I think it's registering with President Obama because he put out that notion. We got to do things better. We got to get right into our communities. That's the hope that he's been representing. That's the hope we want to deliver in this whole organized, collaborative approach. So it is natural for us that we should thank people who've got us here. Senator Feinstein, Leader Pelosi, they have been here for years, helping us get the money, break through with the Hunters Point Plan, shipyard. Gavin Newsom had that vision. And he sat down with me and with Dwayne Jones and with Fred Blackwell and the people in our office for many years, with Henry when he came aboard, to say, you know, when the federal government was giving up on Hope 6, we had San Francisco Hope. We had Hope SF. We're going to self-create that program because it was a good program. It was one that invested in people. And we rebuilt it with a commitment from the city of over $90 million on paper with the Board of Supervisors, each of them agreeing with us. We're not giving up. This is the first of many projects of our public housing. 90 million to 8 public housing, the worst housing in our city. We're going to rebuild in the same way with the requisite degree of hope, with the community, with residents in the district, with jobs for everybody to rebuild. That's the number one thing. Jobs, right? I hear ABU. I hear people haven't been here. Yeah. And we're going to rebuild it in a way in which is never isolated, that is connected up with different incomes of people, a whole village, storefronts, jobs, development. That's how we do it in the rest of the city. That's how we should do it and will do it here in Bayview, in Hunters Point, in Alice Griffith, Double Rock. That's what I got taught with my good friend Muhammad Nuru. So you come here, you talk Double Rock. Because we cleaned up out here, and we know people refer to this place as, because there's pride in where people live. No matter what the conditions, there's pride. And all we want is to make sure people feel the hope that the Risk City has, to rebuild, to restructure, to gain new relationships. That's how you get out of poverty. That's how we change our life. That's how we transform our kids' hope in this city. Create new relationships. The new relationships that our Housing Authority is there for, the new relationship that our Redevelopment Commission. I just want to thank President Swig, Vice President Singh, Commissioners Anaya, Covington, and King for your great leadership at the Redevelopment Agency. A new, revised redevelopment agency working with everybody. Ted Hunt, Angelo King, the PAC, thank you very much for your Project Area Committee leadership being here. Roberta Achtenberg, thank you for not only being here, your guidance constantly. You've never given up on this city. You've been to Washington, D.C., you've been all over the place, but you're here today giving us the guidance and counsel on the policy level that we will not forget. Thank you very, very much. Michael Cohen, you've been helping so much, so many years. And you're still here too, and we're here to announce this with you because you've spent incredible hours working with our whole team at Hunters Point, makes the thing happy and successful. We thank you for your critical contributions here. Our Housing Authority. President Amos, we've had many conversations. We continue to have those conversations with Hope. And you keep reminding me, don't just talk about Hope, deliver it. Deliver it. And it's my privilege to join you, Commissioner Safai, Honeycutt, and Smith here today, delivering on that Hope. It's not about just promises. We have to deliver. We have to deliver. And we're creating new partnerships along the way. You know, did you know about this capital campaign that we're doing? Because it's not just on HUD. HUD's contributions is $30 million, $30.5 million, but that's just the beginning. There's a group of people that have been working behind the scenes that Gavin Newsom asked to come together, that I get to help implement too. That's the Hope SF Capital Campaign Group, headed by James Heed from the Vice President of Programs for SF Foundation. Pam David, thank you, Pam, for being here. She's with Walter Haas Foundation. She's there. Rich Gross from the Enterprise Communities. He's here today. Sandra Hernandez, Dr. Hernandez, thank you for many, many years of contribution. You're here. You're all here on the capital campaign along with David Friedman, the board chair, because they're raising another $25 million to contribute to the 5 other sites that we're trying to rebuild. Private dollars from people and companies who also join in the hope, the delivery of hope for this city. And they know that the companies who are willing to contribute their investment and their dollars to a city and to a community can only and will only do that if the residents here have that same degree of hope. So they feel the hope, and they're going to help deliver that $25 million. To our community partners, gosh, you know, the story of collaboration has to do a lot with our community partners because they deliver. They deliver every day on major projects. Our friends in labor, our friends in the Center for Youth Wellness, Dr. Nadine Burke, Shaman Walton from Young Community Developers, Green Streets, David Denson, Demisha Jones, Felina Holmes from our City Build, along with Rhonda Simmons and her executive directorship on that, Lena Miller from Hunters Point, Diane Gray, Gina Frommer from Bayview YMCA, Barbara Okel from the Opera House, and Kathy Davis from the Multi-Purpose Senior Center. These are all people that have been part of this great administration, along with our housing authority, our redevelopment agencies. But I think the most thanks, again, continues to be working all together with our school districts and our labor community. Comes back to the residents here, the residents of Alice Griffith, the people who helped put this opportunity center together, saying a few years ago with Dwayne Jones and others, how do we bring hope? How do we put a mural on there that expresses these kids' hopes to have a better future? How do we do that? We begin by breathing hope within our own communities and saying we can get there. And now you know that you have a mayor that's going to be spending all day and all night, as long as I can, to deliver on this promise, because that's what we do here in San Francisco. That's how we build partnerships. That's how we get our elected officials to be on the same page with all of us working together. But it begins with the residents here sharing that hope, believing in it. And that's why those interviews resulted in $30.5 million. You know, I go around with Carlos and Hydra throughout all of our school districts with our kids, saying, please complete your college education, because you get to join the $1 Million Club. Because that's the difference between a high school diploma and a college diploma. And we're getting a lot of kids to believe that. But today, I want to invite them to join the $30.5 million club here at Alice Griffith, because that's a lot of club going to do. So, on behalf of the city, Todd, thank you very much. Thank you for the team, Fred, and everything we do. But again, thank you, residents, for being so much a believer, and we will deliver on all of our promises. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, I'd like to bring up the President of the Board of Supervisors, David Chu.
Anybody think today is a beautiful day? Anybody think the sun is shining on Bayview today? Anybody think $30 million is shining on Alice Griffith today? I want to thank all of you for coming. The mayor has given all the specific thanks that I, of course, want to add my words to. We are here to celebrate, to appreciate, and to anticipate. We are celebrating the successes, and of course, HUD, thank you for your generosity. We're here to appreciate the thousands of folks that came together to rebuild our village. We represent San Francisco. We are white, we are black, we are brown, we are yellow, we are pink, and we are green. And we are coming together to make sure that the future of San Francisco here in the Southeast neighborhoods is taken care of. We're also here, though, to anticipate where we are going. I wanted to come down this morning because I was thinking about that tough vote from a year ago. And I want to thank Sophie Maxwell for helping me to convince me to cast that tough vote. Thank you, Sophie. I remember the hundreds of conversations I had with many of you here. But I got to tell you, the one conversation I remember the most was the one that I had with the tenants of Alice Griffith. And I want to thank all of you who are here. Could you please raise your hands, and can we give it up to the tenants of Alice Griffith? You are why we're here. You have been the present, and you are the future of our city. And with you, we're going to keep this going. So thank you for being here. Let's get it going.
And next, District 10 Supervisor Malia Cohen.
All right.
Thank you and goodbye. I'm kidding. I hate speaking after the mayor. He steals everything, everything that you could possibly think. So I guess that just forces folks like myself and David Chu to keep our remarks very brief. But I just really come to express my gratefulness and how really moved I was. Woo! It's a blessing. And how really moved I was when I got the text message that we had received the award. I put it on Facebook, and you know, somebody's watching my page because I got a message 20 minutes later to pull it off that it wasn't public information yet. But that's how excited I was, because we need to continue to share the word. Now, you heard in a lot of the remarks, you heard one central theme. You heard gratefulness and you heard thankfulness. And it's those two things that continue to drive me every single day. I'm very grateful to serve, and I'm very thankful to serve. And it's through gratefulness and thankfulness that have brought us here today. Many people may remember when the seeds were planted over there in the garden, and it parallels to where we are today. The seeds that we planted several years ago, when I wasn't even on the team. The mayor wasn't the mayor. David, you might not even have been the president. But these seeds of hope were planted, and now they're starting to bear fruit. And so when some of the comments you heard today about here we are, we made it $30 million, that's great. But I'm here to say that actually only means it's time for us to roll up the sleeves. Because now it comes the real work, to make sure that we're thoughtful and diligent in how we allocate and spend the money, where the resources are. And I also want to acknowledge that we are standing here not only in on the heels of this wonderful garden, but we're also standing in the forefront of a fantastic child care center. And that is exactly why we're here today, to talk about hope. And we're here to rebuild the community and inspire people, the young children from Frandelja. Thank you. You know, you always have a couple aunties in the audience that'll correct you. That's the beautiful thing about being, I think, one of the younger members on the board. Humble enough to take some coaching, but also young and limber enough to do the work that needs to be done. And that's really what I'm here to talk about and to convey, is that really now is the time that we begin to do our work. And I want to thank also the clergy, each and every one of the clergy members that are here. Labor couldn't do it without your tireless commitment. Also want to give a specific shout out to the commissioners, not just from the housing, not just from redevelopment, but also from the housing authority, because it's through those bodies that were also influential in helping bring us here today. So thank you very much, commissioners, both past and present. I don't think you guys got a fair acknowledgement, so I want to acknowledge you. And I also want to acknowledge President Lavelle Shaw, who is over the Residents Association, because he has truly ushered this project as well. I mean, this has been a project, no doubt, the city people, I mean, we get paid to do this, so we're kind of just doing our job, and it feels good to stand up here and receive thanks, but I also need everyone to understand that it's the residents that actually are here on the front line. They're the ones that call. They're the ones that remind me. They're also the ones that hold us accountable and keep these important projects in perspective. The purpose of why we're here, why we serve, why we get up and do it, what we do every single day. So I'm forever grateful. Don't stop. Continue to stay committed. Trust me, I know public service can be tireless and tiresome and sometimes thankless, but it's days like today where we really begin to acknowledge the fruit from the seeds that we have sown. And it's up to us to continue to sow positive and healthy food for not just our soul, but for our community. And I also would like to acknowledge that this funding will revitalize not only the physical structures in this area, but will invest in the health and education and the advancement of our community as a whole. And this funding also includes fantastic youth programs, because I think we all have heard the cliche, the children are our future. But let's put those words into action, because it's the fantastic youth programs offered by the Hunters Point family, the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, YCD, 100% college prep. Also, we have the Opera House First Five, and I mentioned earlier the incredible work that our care providers are seeking to provide health and physical well-being for our young members in the community. So I also want to thank you for that. The Center for Youth Wellness at 3rd Street Clinic as well. Oh, I thought somebody was going to applaud. I'm sorry. Because that's exactly why the purpose of today. And of course the local agencies, DPH, Mayor's Office of Economic Development, Redevelopment Agency, HSA, MTA, DCYF, our partners in public safety, thank you very much for coming and being with us today. And that's about it for me, folks. It's time for us to get to work and continue to move this program along. I hope that you, oh, I'm sorry, I'm about to close out the program. See, that's what happens when you're the supervisor. I'm ready to keep this train moving. But I want to assure our folks from ABU that we definitely hear you, are not forgotten, and are always in the forefront of our mind. Workforce development, and particularly local hire ordinance, is always on the forefront of my mind, and I know it's on the forefront of Mayor Edley and the President Chu. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you, and just say thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Cohen. Next, I'd like to bring to the stage Dan Bernal, who is from the Congresswoman Pelosi's office, and just to say, she'll always be our speaker.
Thank you. Well, like Supervisor Cohen, Leader Pelosi was thrilled when she learned that this grant had been awarded. She had been checking in regularly to see when the announcement was going to be made, and had weighed in firmly in support of the application. unfortunately, she had already committed to speak at the American Legion conference in Minneapolis this morning, where she is right now. Otherwise, she would be here. But she asked me to bring her thanks to everyone, to Ophelia Bascal and her entire crew at HUD, to Mayor Lee, to all of the supervisors and the commissioners past and present, to the residents of Alice Griffith, and also to all of the neighbors and supporters of the Bayview neighborhood and the Alice Griffith community for turning out today. So while she couldn't be here, she did ask me to share a statement with you, which I'll read now. Today, San Francisco has secured more than an investment in new housing. Our city has begun to transform a neighborhood, revitalize a community, strengthen our economy, and provide a fresh start for the families of Alice Griffith. This project reflects the key goals of the Choice Neighborhoods initiative: to build sustainable, mixed-income communities with affordable rental and below-market homes alongside market-rate houses, to connect local households to services and schools, public space and parks, transit and jobs, and it upholds the principle of one-for-one replacement, ensuring no loss of public housing units. It is a source of pride for all San Franciscans that the federal government has placed this down payment on this new development. I was proud to advocate for this project alongside Senators Barbara Boxer and Dianne Feinstein, and commend Mayor Ed Lee, city housing officials, HUD representatives, and our community partners for securing this grant. We look forward to working together to ensure the success of this effort in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. And from the state, Colin Parent, who is from the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Colin.
Everybody, my name is Colin Parent. I'm the Director for External Affairs at the California Department of Housing and Community Development. And when the governor's office asked me to be here, they really made it clear that we were really here to congratulate the hard work and the efforts that are happening here today. And it's important, I think, to consider that this is a serious investment that's happening at a time of dwindling resources available for affordable housing. People from the redevelopment agency may know a thing or two about that. And but in this continuing era of limits, it doesn't mean that we can't think big about projects. It doesn't mean that we have to just put things aside and say we can't make real efforts. Instead, it means just the opposite. It means we have to think big. It means we have to think about where are our opportunities? Where can we put money that's really going to make a difference? And how are we going to be able to leverage what limited resources we have left in the most meaningful way? And that's exactly what we're doing here. And that's what HUD's doing here, making a significant long-term investment in the success of this community. So I think it's very appropriate that this is happening, and that California is, I think, rightly proud of your successes here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, a great partner, Executive Director at the Housing Authority, Henry Alvarez.
All right.
Hey, how y'all doing? Look, I don't get to dress up and do all of this on the regular. This is something I really don't enjoy doing a great deal. So I'm just going to say thank you to everyone who touched this process, whether you're the boss or the subordinate boss or you were handling the shovel. I just want to say thank you. But I want to talk about a couple things before I sit down. I met a young man here some 3.5 years ago in a jogging suit and a pair of sweats, along with some other folks, and that person happened to be named Ed Lee. And at the time, I was a young man looking for a job. And I said to that young man, you let me have the job and I'll do the work. And that young man later became the mayor. So I just want to say thank you to my boss, the mayor, and then to all my other bosses. There's a lot of them in this room, Reverend Brown and others. But to the 18,000 bosses that I have who depend on me every day, sick, whatever may come, to hit the ground running, we promised, Lavelle, you were right there pushing me, kicking me in the rear every chance we got to make sure that this happened. And here we are. To Lennar, I met with Kofi and I said, man, let me be clear. We got to make this thing happen. And so here we are. A young man I met some 7 years ago who we've been trying to work together for most of those 7 years. We keep having lunch and phone calls and dancing together. It's like dating, you know, we kiss, we never get to see each other again, and finally it's going to come to fruition. I'm just thrilled to be a part of that. Why am I committed to this? It's not just a job for me. I'm not just being a public servant. I live this, grew up in it. Two of the worst ones in America, Lafitte and Magnolia. They've come to be known today as C.J. Pete, Harmony Oaks, whatever you want to call them, in New Orleans, Louisiana. I get it. I understand that we have to change it. I understand what happens to a dream deferred. I understand that it hasn't always been a crystal stair, that they've been thorns in it, and tacks, and rocks, but still, like air, we rise. I remember when Donnie said a change was going to come. Today is that change. Today, we're going to do something different. We're going to change not just buildings and trees and dirt and rocks. We're going to change human beings. For once, we're going to change the folks' lives who live here, who will once again become a part of the full circle of what is San Francisco. This is my adopted home. I love it here. I hope after this craziness of today that they'll let me stay. But when I got out of bed this morning, my wife said to me, "What are you doing?" I couldn't stand still. I was so excited. I just want you to know that this is, other than my children being born, this is the best day of my life. This is it. Boy, man, look, hey, say amen. This is a moment. This is a moment for all of us. If you had anything to do with touching this, you did something special. Now, I'm going to go back to my polos and leather jacket, and many of you won't recognize me again, and you'll get confused when they introduce me and what have you. But keep remembering that I'm pedaling as fast as I can. We're doing the work. It took a long time to get here. It will take a while to get it all done. But I have friends who have been just rock solid with my craziness as I've tried to push them, shove them, pull them, cajole them, damn near kick them in the rear to get them through to this process. And to all of you, I just take a moment and say thank you. And for my mom, who's not here to see this, I just, you know, today your son did something good. So thank you all so very, very much. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see you when we first start turning the first shovel of dirt. Thank you very much.
I've done a lot of work with Henry. I've never seen that before. Next up, Carlos Garcia, the superintendent of schools.
Well, I'm going to keep mine short because I want to see the shovels, you know. I have to tell you, on behalf of the school board, and I know that Hydra Mendoza and a couple board members are here, I really want to say thank you. You know, we have the privilege every day in our beautiful school district to serve 56,000 students. And I'm not going to go and thank all the different groups that got here because it really was an effort by everybody. But I do want to point one thing out, and that is, you know, this project's been long coming. I have to tell you, I think why it finally happened is because everybody, all those names that people have rattled off, the mayor and everybody else, I have to tell you, the thing that brought this together is that all those people, including the school district, all of us, we left our egos at the door and said this is more important than anybody's ego. Because this is about a community, it's not about individuals. It's about all the folks who actually live here. We come here, so we make the speeches, but we're going to leave. It's about the people who are going to stay here, because if we can build this community to be successful, then our future will be successful. Our students across the street here at Bret Harte, I was just there last week. The work that's going on there, why we're excited about this project, and it was great that the city and the department said, you know, Carlos, we need your input on this. We need to get you involved. And we sat down with them and we dreamed. We dreamed about, yeah, we have the superintendent zone here that we just set up. We have a lot of different things going here, but it's not going to be enough. Because the schools can't solve the problems. A community, a city, everybody together solves problems. No one does this in by themselves. I think that's why we have failed in the past to solve problems. We can't depend on individual departments or school districts to solve our problems. This is a community issue that belongs to everybody. And not only to the people who live here, it belongs to every San Franciscan that lives in this beautiful city of ours. This issue is everybody's issue, and that's why it's exciting to be here. It's great to see that we're going to set aside monies here to make these schools the best schools. Not second best, but the best schools. We're recruiting the best principals in the country to come work in these schools, the best teachers in the country. Some of the monies will be going directly to support those efforts, to get great training for teachers, to build the capacity so that people understand the cultures that they're serving. We have to be relevant with our students. We have to teach them about social justice. We have to talk about what is civil rights. To me, when you look at the strategic plan of the school district, we talk about social justice and the fact that the greatest issue in America today, the greatest injustice, the modern day apartheid in this country, and we ought to be ashamed of it, is the achievement gap. Because who's affected by it? And if we don't take that on, and the way we take it on is by building a community that stands up for social justice, stands up for their children, because our schools will never be good enough for any of our children unless we make every single school good enough for all our children. That's what this is about here today. We come united because we know without parent support, we need to engage parents. Yeah, sometimes people say to me, well, Carlos, you say that, but then people become sometimes a problem. Well, we need more of those problems, folks. We need the people that advocate for their children and stand up for them, because there's nothing more important on this planet than our children. So I hope that you're here to celebrate a new beginning, because I, like my friend Alvarez here, I also grew up in the barrio. I also grew up in the hood. I know what it's like. I know when people come and talk about hope. You know, don't talk about hope. Demonstrate it by action. What we have here today is not just hope, it's real action. I hope that we don't all just come together to celebrate this, but I hope that once the building takes place, that we come back here and demonstrate that we're going to walk the talk and make this hope not a hope, but a reality for all our children and everybody who lives here. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Tony Salazar from McCormick Bear and Salazar.
Good morning. Good morning. I am the one to deliver the hope. Yes. That's my job. And after all these speeches, I will be here for the next several years working on that hope. And before I tell you a little bit about my company, I want to put it in context. As I was sitting right here, looking in that direction, as you are, and looking at that vista. I was born and raised in Kansas City, long ways from here. And I grew up in a public housing project that looks just like that. It's called West Penway Public Housing Project. And I've been a developer of affordable housing for 32 years. 16 years ago, I went to HUD, got a Hope 6 grant. I tore that damn thing down 16 years ago. Because I knew what it's like to live in a development where there's little hope, a lot of despair, not much sense of the future. And I tore it down and built a mixed income development and built a school with it, built a community center with it, built a library, a health clinic, and built a community where there's hope for the future for children. There's the same sense of belonging of the people that live there. Brought them back. Kids now have a higher educational attainment rate. They're healthier. There's people with jobs. There's that hope for the future, and there's that sense of belonging. That's what we're going to do here, and that's what I'm going to deliver, Mr. Mayor, as you ask. And since that time, to give you a sense about the company, is that we've gone This will be our 30th development of tearing down old public housing and building new mixed income developments. We've done it all over this country. We've done it on the East Coast, the West Coast, from Minneapolis down to New Orleans, where we're doing 3 there. This is what we do. We develop, we manage, with our nonprofit urban affiliate Urban Strategies, we don't just build it and leave. We manage it, we operate, and deliver social services. That's what I'm bringing to you, Mr. Mayor. That's my commitment to all of you here. Henry and I have been talking for 7 years and been courting, but I refuse to get in the back seat until now. So here I am, you know. I want everybody to feel free to come and talk to me afterwards, because there's a long road that we're going to go together with the residents, with the Housing Authority, with the Redevelopment Agency, with the city, with the state, with HUD, and we're most humbled by this, by being selected the developer and this HUD award, and we will deliver for everyone. Call me when you need me, but otherwise, Yusef Freeman, raise your hand, Yusef. He's the man on the ground. He's going to be here every day, and he's going to be the point person for us. With that, I leave you, and I thank you very much, and with God's blessing and everyone's help, we'll deliver on everything that we just talked about today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Next, Lavelle Shaw from the Tenants Association.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out. And I've been in this community a long time, so it's a long time coming. You know, I want to thank, you know, some important people that came here and started from the ground up, which is one of those persons, Dwayne Jones. He probably, we started on the ground, and you know, along with redevelopment, along with the mayor's office, along with McCormick and Barron and other people, and Sophie, and all of them who got together and said this is going to happen, and involved me to make sure it happened, made sure the community was involved so it can happen. And what I want to say is that I heard a lot of good words up here today from the mayor, from everybody. I want to commit you, and I want to make sure that you keep that word. I want everybody to keep replaying that tape to them, saying this is what you said was going to happen. So make sure that it happened the way you said it was going to happen. Like I said, we want to make sure we don't get displaced. We want to make sure that everything goes with the tenant involvement. And that's what I just want to say. That's one of my major things. Tenant involvement and jobs for my residents. And to all the organizations that's here, some of y'all support us fully and some of y'all support us partly. Well, I'm tired of that partly. If you're going to come in my community, in my development, and raise your signs and banners up here when it's only a game for you, I'm not going to accept it. I want you to come to my community when the cameras is not here. I want you to come to my communities when we ain't got the mayor here. I want you to come to my community when the supervisor ain't here. I want you to come to my community tomorrow when everybody gone and say, what can we do to help you? That shows me your commitment. I hate all these programs and these people coming here holding up everything that I ain't seen in 20 years. Last time I seen you, I think I was astounding those kids somewhere. Well, I want you to come to my community when it's not beneficial to you. Make it beneficial to us as a whole. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank all the pastors in our community and to say, hey, keep striving to do better for us as a whole. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. And I just want to introduce myself. My name is Sheila Glenda Holmes, and I am Alice Griffith. I was born and raised here, and I've been here over 60 years, I'd say. That don't mean I'm 60 years old. Okay. So I want to say, this is what I came to say. We are so grateful to God for the blessings that's coming to Alice Griffith. You know, this is a great, great opportunity for our families here to grow, to see new faces, and to just love one another, along with jobs and opportunities for the future for for the families here in Alice Griffith. This is a long time coming. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for Ed Lee. I've been knowing him for almost 15 years. And he's been working. He's a good person. He's been working with the community, with people from the community for that long that I know. You know, and so I wanted to say that. I want to say congratulations to McCormick. I've never met you, but I see you. Congratulations to McCormick, Barron, Salazar for winning the grant, and I pray that we all have opportunity to grow from the grant. Okay, we have, I'm also here, I didn't even say, I'm here representing Alice Griffith Investment Group. We have a community, yes. We have a community newsletter, and we ask that you take advantage of the newsletter to get all opportunities in here so they can get out to the community. That's our job, and that's what we do here in Alice Griffith. Okay. Okay, we are praying, we are planning, we are praying and working together as a family here. Okay. We have opportunities today that are being announced. One of our partners is a manufacturer of a distributor of one of the most delicious tasting energy drinks I've ever had. This is true. It's really good. And she has it there. And they're inside the center, so please take advantage of that. Okay. We're working with the partnership. Oh, I already said it. We're working with we have another program that's coming up. The partnerships with Gyro Technology and Claritative Creative Institute. Together, we will host the first ever Bayview Hunters Point Career Tech Day, which we have an opportunity to have the mayor and Malia Cohen to back us up. And so this is really going to happen, and I'm very excited about that because it's something that we've been working on for a couple of years. Gyro Technology is a great place that they have a lot of technology knowledge, and Claritative Creative also has that. So we're going to do some things for our family and our community in this neighborhood. Okay, that's it. I just hope and pray that everything that's happened with the money, the grant that's coming to Alice Griffith, that each and every one individually in each and every one of these homes are able to grow. You know, this is my dream, and I'm so grateful, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We are just about at the end. Generally, when I do these, I acknowledge commissioners and talk about PAC members and the broader group of folks that have helped to put this together, but I think that you have heard from just about everybody today, and they've covered just about all the ground.
Mr. Chairman,
so there's only just one thing that I want
from everybody.
Well, just hold on one second.
I want to say something.
Hold on one moment. Hold on, we're going to get you right up here.
Yeah, right now.
Hold on one second, though. Just one thing I wanted to say before I bring up Reverend Brown, or before he boots me out the way, is that there's a reason why people have been so emotional today. And as I've been thinking about this over the last week or so, I've been emotional as well, and kind of shared a few moments that you saw from Supervisor Cohen today. And it's not because of the grant, although the grant is wonderful. It's because of the residents here. And you've heard a lot of people mention them. But I just want to give you a sense of the quality of people that we're talking about right now. About 7 years ago, Dwayne Jones and I started meeting over there at Bret Hart and down here at this unit before there was a community center, talking to folks about what they wanted to see happen in their neighborhood for the umpteenth time. And after we got through a lot of well-deserved anger about us showing up yet again to make some promises, folks started to roll up their sleeves. You heard from Lavelle, Miss Jackie was in those meetings, Dedria Smith, Fowler, others. Yes. And a lot of things have happened since then. This Opportunity Center that you see behind you used to be at SBC Park. It was called the Now House. And Dwayne Jones put this on a barge and brought it down the bay and parked it over here and brought it over. And everybody who worked on putting this on this foundation was from the development. And as a result, you don't hear about broken windows in this center. That's right. You don't see any graffiti on this center. No. You know why? Because folks own it. Yes. President Chu talked about tough votes that happened at the Redevelopment Commission, at the Board of Supervisors. It was the residents of Alice Griffith who showed up at each and every one of those commission meetings and hearings, some of them which lasted until 2 o'clock in the morning. Yes. 2 o'clock in the morning, talking about that this was an opportunity that they were not going to see let go by the wayside. So I just want to express to you how grateful I am to you all for allowing us to work with you to get to this point. Yeah. How much it means to be able to deliver on a promise. And just one thing before I go, for everybody here before you leave, I want you to look beyond the gardens over here, the piece of land. It won't mean much to you now, but what I want you to understand is that that piece of land will be the first site to get developed here. And the reason why that's important is because nobody, if they don't want to, will have to move from this neighborhood as this development occurs. This is not one of those things where a new shiny building is built and the folks who lived through the years of disinvestment and neglect will not get a chance to reap the benefits. And we can say that with 100% confidence. So again, thank you to the residents for letting us be a part of this. Thank you for letting us work with you. And thank you so much to HUD for giving us the opportunity to make this real for everybody. Thank you. Reverend Grant.
Ladies and gentlemen, I arose to say that with the exception of Reverend Pastor Aurelius Walker, I'm the one who's had the longest tenure as pastor of a predominantly African-American congregation in this city. And I want to give a friendly closing statement of all of the great personages who've been presented here today, including our mayor, representatives from our Congresswoman's office, all of you honored people. I want you to not forget this fact, that this day may be likened unto drinking a cup of coffee. You can have the coffee, the water, and the sugar, or your sweetener. But if you don't have a stir, or you don't have a spoon to stir it up, it will never be good to the last drop. And I submit to you that the NAACP and yours truly will be the stir and the spoon in every bit of this development to make sure that no protesters come around with a sign saying they don't give a damn about us. I'm going to stir it up until we make sure that the folks who look like me have jobs in this community. Too many promises have been made. Too many nice words have been uttered. And when it was over, we got absolutely nothing. I am going to stir it up, Mr. Superintendent, until we get rid of the fact that 70% of black students in this city don't finish high school. We got to stir it up and make sure that everybody is engaged and see. As Martin Luther King Jr. eloquently said, and I was honored last week in Washington as one of the only students whom he taught in his lifetime amongst 8. Dr. King said this in 1967. If America has organized through public policy and legislation to do bad things against the Negro, America had better organize, politicize, and utilize its energies to do good things for and with the Negro. That was Martin Luther King Jr., and he spoke as a prophet. And I speak today out of our prophetic tradition to say I'm sick and tired of promises being made to folks who look like me. And after the day is over, we get the short end of the stick. And we end up being, as USA Today said, the only city in America, major city, that has lost African American population. I'm going to stir it up. Stir it up. Stir it up.
I can't think of a better closer. Thank you all. There are refreshments in the back right there. There'll be press availability up here. Thank you again. And onward and upward. Thank you.